we're going to be talking about what communication looks like in dermatology. The specific things that we're going to be talking about is how communication has evolved, AI, secret words, meetings, and social media. This is a diagram from the 1930s to 2020 about how technology and communication has evolved. This has to do with communications because we have the proposal of algorithm all the way to the style GAN3, which shows us the many different ways that we've evolved. If we look at one big one was in the 1980s, closer to the 1970s, the end of 1970s, we have the form of a machine learning, which is basically us using computers to understand what type of information that we are getting. We also have Google Brain and things like Siri, the AlphaGo. These are all different ways that they've used to communicate with people. Now, we also have this diagram. If we look in the middle row, we're self-diagnosing dermatology appointments and primary care providers all lay, we can see how we all communicate with each other. So we have primary care providers getting people appointments at dermatology, self-diagnosing apps, telling you, hey, you need to go to a dermatologist for this appointment. We have patients just knowing to go to dermatology because of social media, things like that. These are all ways that we communicate with a dermatologist. We have secret words. This is a way that a dermatologist communicates with you and other doctors. So, in one way that they would communicate with another doctor is with different types of letters. So, for example, with my interview that I conducted, I found out that there are some secret words that they might say. So, for instance, in my interview, she told me about the C or the SF, which is skin fungal, which or skin cancer. So skin cancer or the skin fungal, which look very similar, and they'll say that in a meeting or something to kind of hint at to the doctor, like, hey, this is what I think it might be, but I don't want to say it in front of the patient because I don't know what it could be. So well, they'll say something like that so that way they don't scare you. This might be in more of a private conversation as well, so that way people can't hear their conversation. Um, Another thing that they might do is they might use secret words like, hey, like you have a bacterial. Because a skin fungal disease does not sound as good as, hey, you have some bacteria on your arm. And that's how they're going to explain it. So these are secret words. We're also going to be talking about AI. So AI is huge now in 2025. We use AI to communicate with people. They have their own AI program, just like Wayne State does, where they'll ask questions to the AI, and other dermatologists have maybe answered those questions in their own statements to the AI. So that's very nice. It's very cool to see. This is meetings. So we have the AAD, which is the main one. This is the one that I talked about in my interview. Um, in June in Florida, there's the biggest meeting of the year. They have one every year where over 25 hospitals will go to this dermatology and talk about all their research that they've done, ways that they've learned that communication's easier. Actually, in 2024, one of the meetings was about pagers, which I'm still actively trying to learn about. There isn't much information about it, but I have heard that pagers might be becoming a bigger thing in the dermatology field, like it is in the nursing field. In that last in this slide, we can also see the different types of meetings. In this slide, we can see a different society of investigations between dermatology. So this is another type of meeting. So they held a meeting to see how many men were in meetings and how many dermatologists. This is a smaller group, as we can see that there was 6 men in 2018 and 51 women. And in this one, there was no women in 2023 and there was 59 men. Isn't that really cool and interesting? So it has gone down. But this definitely has lessened the communication. So when women were in the communication field, we did see a lot more of things like talking person to person, where now it has changed and men are now more likely to send emails. Now, the email is does have a difference because we have to follow HIPAA rules, and that means that they can't have any personal information on these things, so they might be just pictures or images of more broad situations, which is very cool and interesting to see. Emails are very small in the dermatology field because of HIPAA rules. They do a lot of communication face to face and in meetings. So, the instance like the Society of Investigations and the AAD, we see lots of different meetings. So we have cases of dermatology. We have different meetings conducting on things involving um alopecia, dry skin, things like that. There's more specific meetings as well, which is nice. Following up with that, we have this foundations. So this is all social media. So we have Alopecia Project, we have the Skin Cancer Foundation, we have the National Paralysis Foundation, we have Dermatalk. There's a whole bunch of things. So they use Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. These are all huge members of what they are doing in social media. So we have the number of likes, followers, and number of members. So we can see in the number of members, the Children of Alopecia has 42 members. Now this is in 2012 and it has grown a lot. And we have seen a lot of different things. Like Instagram is really big for dermatology. Facebook is still huge in dermatology. We do see a constant activity in dermatology for Facebook as well. So the last side is my works cited. I use many sources to find all of this information about AI, meetings, things like that. Um, was very interesting to see that AI has such a huge part in the communication, and we don't use as much communication as we would think. So there's no cell phones, there's no text messages, there's no emails. It's definitely more face-to-face meetings, things like that in the dermatology field. And that is it.